think of it like, wouldn't it be great if you had a basketball team, you had LeBron James, you had Michael Jordan, and you had the digital version of them, and they played forever, and you could get on the court and play with them, and they're scoring 100 points and you're scoring 2 points, but you're all getting rich together and you're all winning together. That's what Bitcoin is like. It's like everybody gets to play.
In this interview with Dave Portnoy and Michael Saylor, we discuss Bitcoin as digital real estate, why long-term holding outperforms frantic trading, and how major companies are fueling its growth. Stay updated on new crypto trends, ETF approvals, and changing regulations. Subscribe, hit the bell, and share your thoughts.
I think, let's talk about it in sports metaphors. It's like, first of all, there's some games that you can't play, you got to watch. And if you're just watching the game and the team wins, that means your season tickets are going to get more expensive next year. But there are other games you can play. You go into a casino and you play the game, but you know the game's rigged against you. There are some games where the house wins, you're not winning. And Satoshi created a game that's rigged in favor of the individual. Satoshi is a real person, but not forgot. We're all Satoshi. We're all Satoshi now, Dave.
Okay.
Right? The most important thing to know is that, like Prometheus gave us fire to warm you up, Satoshi gave us a game we can all win, right? And Bitcoin is that game. It's, you know, there are certain things where, like, you don't want to be on a network where they can censor what you say and they can freeze your account. Bitcoin is a monetary network where it won't censor where you send your money. It won't freeze your account. And it's engineered in such a way that on the margin, you're winning the game over time. So think of it like, wouldn't it be great if you had a basketball team, you had LeBron James, you had Michael Jordan, and you had the digital version of them, and they played forever, and you could get on the court and play with them, and they're scoring 100 points and you're scoring 2 points, but you're all getting rich together and you're all winning together. That's what Bitcoin is like. It's like everybody gets to play. Everywhere in the world I go, there's like a fan club. There's hundreds of millions of people that are on Team Bitcoin. The 100 million fans would be rooting for you. And the great thing about it is you don't just win the game, you get wealthy while you're winning the game.
As Michael Saylor explains, think of Bitcoin as valuable digital property in a growing city. Each new investor increases its value, making long-term holding more rewarding than short-term trading. Like owning land in a popular neighborhood, Bitcoin appreciates over time as major players join in. This shift makes Bitcoin not just a speculative bet, but a solid long-term wealth opportunity in a borderless economy. Let's hear more from Michael Saylor on this.
I think we got to play the game of life, and half the game of life is economics. And so you have to play the economic game whether you like it or not. So you can put your money in a Lebanese bank and use Lebanese currency. The government inflates the currency, the bank freezes your assets, and you fail at the game of life. You can put your money in any asset in Africa, or you can put your money into Bitcoin. So the real appeal of Bitcoin is everybody in the world, I mean, they don't want to put their money in a bank in the middle of Africa in an African currency you've never heard of, right? But Bitcoin gives you control of your money, right? And is that egalitarian? Yeah. Is that humanitarian? Sure, it is. Is it economically smart? Yeah, right. So they're connected, right? You have to have economic empowerment if you're going to achieve whatever you want in life. And to be economically empowered, you have to be on a network that won't freeze you or censor you. And you got to have an asset that nobody else can debase. No corporation can screw up. No country can screw up. You know, and that's what Bitcoin represents. I mean, look, there's certain places where the land values go through the roof. If, like, the land we're standing on right now in Miami, it used to go for $10,000 an acre, and now it goes for $10 million, $20 million an acre. It's up by a factor of 1,000 in less than 100 years. Same in the Hamptons, same in Manhattan. I grew up in Faribault, Ohio. The land in Faribault, Ohio did not go up by a factor of 1,000. Right. The land in the middle of the swamps or the land in the Rocky Mountains doesn't go up. So if I gave you the chance to buy up all of Palm Beach or the Hamptons or Manhattan, any time in the past 100 years, it would have been a good deal. In fact, in 1650, you could have bought Manhattan. 1700, you could buy land in Manhattan every decade for the past 300 years at a price higher than the person that sold it to you bought it for, and it still would be a good investment. The only thing that slightly slows you down is the property tax, but assume there's no property tax, you would buy it and hold it forever. Now, if you're an African or South American or Russian or Chinese, you can't buy land in the United States easily. You don't want to own the land in Africa any more than you want to own the land, in the middle of the Rocky Mountains. It's not going to appreciate. So Bitcoin represents cyber Manhattan. It's 21 million blocks. Everybody with money in the world is going to want to put some of their money there, right? How much of their money? Well, if you lived in Lebanon or Iraq or Syria right now, the money you have in Bitcoin you still have, and the money you have in the local bank you don't have anymore, right? If you need to leave a country or flee for your life, and that happens a lot, the money you have in Bitcoin you get to keep. The money you have in land or buildings or local currencies or a local bank, you lose. So Bitcoin really represents that strongest, greatest city in cyberspace, and it's going to be the center of the digital economy. Like, the really nice thing about it is when you're buying a block or 10 blocks of Manhattan in the year like 1900, you don't know what people are going to do with it, but you kind of figure that all the smart people will move to New York and they'll want that land to build a building on it, and you're going to get wealthy because you're holding it. The same is true with Bitcoin. If you're living in Africa or China or Russia or Argentina and you buy Bitcoin, you don't really know what you're going to do with it, but guess what? MicroStrategy just bought $2 billion of it this week. I know what I'm going to do with it, and I bought it at 100,000. So if you bought, Bitcoin at 5,000, I joke. So you said, well, is 100,000 too much? And I said, look, Dave, I'll be buying it at $1 million a coin, and I'll probably be buying it at the rate of $1 billion a day at $1 million a coin, because that's what I do. Just like you're like, crap, Manhattan real estate's really expensive in 1930. It's a lot more expensive than 1830. I'm like, well, 100 years later, we'll still be buying it and we'll be paying a lot more. The only issue is, can you hold it for that time period? Because people are going to want to buy it. In March of 2020, we all get punched in the face. And for 6 months, you're like, well, do I move to Miami? Do I get in the stock market? Do I buy Bitcoin? What do I do? So for about 6 months, I spent trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And we discovered Bitcoin. And I thought, well, it's not without risk, but everything else is worse. Everything else is a fast death or a slow death. So I'm going to do something new. Over the next 4 years, the risk got taken off. The administration embraced it as a commodity, and that was one risk factor taken off. And then we got the ETFs, that was the second risk factor. And then you got the Trump administration embracing it and the red sweep, that's the third risk factor. And then MicroStrategy, we bought 250 million. We bought 250 million at like 11,800 coin, and then it crashed 20%, Dave.
Yeah.
And we lost $40 million in the next week and a half. And that was.
What are you doing when that happens? Are you like?
I'm figuring out how to buy the next 250 million, because I'm in. You're in. Once you're committed, you're in. And I'm like I'm gonna ride it to zero, or we're gonna win. But I've decided I want to win. And I knew that if I didn't play the game, I was certainly going to lose.
For the full interview, check the link in the description. Bitcoin's true strength lies in creating lasting value, not quick gains. Consider your time horizon. How long will you hold, and where do you see Bitcoin in 10 years? These thoughts help you rise above short-term noise. Thanks for tuning in. If you found this valuable, like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.